My dear students, today our lesson is based on network operating system. First of all, we will see what's a network operating system. A network operating system allows a computer to communicate on a network. It provides additional functionality to a standalone operating system. We will see what's a standalone operating system. A standalone operating system is an entire working framework that provides with a desktop or journal PC. Therefore, now you know what's a standalone operating system. Now we will see what are the including things in a standalone operating system. It uses passing usernames and passwords to a server for checking when a user logs in. Separating user accounts and ensuring that users' account access each other's file. Providing access to network storage and shared resources such as network printers. I think now we all got a brief idea about what's a network operating system. Now we will move to the next slide. In this slide, we are going to talk about how devices are identified on a network. Here I have given you all 3 methods how to identify devices on a network. You can identify a device on a network using Internet Protocol, that means IP address. The second one is using MAC addresses. The third one is by the device name. We want to know what's an IP address. IP address is a unique address that network devices use to send data to each other. You have to keep in mind that IP address is a unique address. In this slide, I am going to explain you what is an Internet Protocol. In the previous slide also, I told you that an IP address is a unique address that network devices use to send data to each other. But I'm going to give an expand idea about what is an IP address. It is a 32-bit number which is usually written in the form. Can you see the examples which I have given to you? 127.0.0.1. Likewise 172.16.0.9. 192.0.0.7. There are some examples for IP addresses. This is a 32-bit number. A home computer is given an IP address when it connects to the internet. Each home computer is given an IP address when it connects to the internet. This is assigned by the ISP. What's the meaning of ISP? It means Internet Server Provider and is unique for that particular internet session. You have to keep in mind this IP address is unique for that particular internet session. The only IP addresses that remain fairly unchanged are web servers. In web servers, their IP addresses remain fairly unchanged. But a home computer is given an IP address which is assigned only for that. I think now you got an idea about what is IP address. Now we will move to the MAC address. Now we will see what is a MAC address. MAC addresses are used in devices connected to a local area network using Ethernet, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. This type of addresses are used in local area networks, that means LANs. MAC addresses are assigned by the NIC manufacturer and are generally considered to be fixed addresses. These are fixed addresses. You have to keep that in your mind. And also, MAC addresses are usually made up of 6. The first 3 identifies the manufacturer. The first 3 parts identify the manufacturer and the remaining parts assigned to uniquely identify the device. And also you have to keep in mind, using MAC address, we can using MAC addresses, that means this is a unique number that identify a device connected to the internet. Now we will see what's the difference between IP address and MAC address. The IP address gives the location of a device on the internet. This gives the location of a device on the internet. But using the MAC addresses, it identifies the device connected to the internet. You can think of the IP addresses as the address of the house you live in, have some unique way of identifying it. As example, I can tell you, you can think that IP address when you are living in a home, your address is the unique way to identify you. Using the MAC address is a way of uniquely identifying each person in that house. Using MAC address, we can identify each person who is living in the house, and by using IP address, we can identify the house uniquely from the other houses. Therefore, I think now you got an idea about MAC address. The first three parts identify the manufacturer, and the remaining part identify the device. Device name. A device name is a descriptive name that helps users to identify computers on a network. My dear students, when you are using a device name, you can identify the computers on a network. But device names are not used by computers to communicate. Using device names, you can't communicate because they are not always unique. Therefore, you have to keep in mind, using device names, you can't communicate. It helps users to identify computers on a network. Wireless access point. A wireless access point allows devices with Wi-Fi connectivity to connect to a wired network. They are often built into other hardware such as routers, but they are also available as a standalone devices that connect to a wired network using Ethernet cables. Why do we use wireless access points? We use wireless access points because it allows devices with Wi-Fi connectivity to connect to a wired network. Switch. A switch, like a hub, is a device. It's like a hub. It's a device that connects a number of computers together to make a LAN. LAN means local area network. This is a device that connects a number of computers together. For this, we can connect number of computers together to make a LAN. The typical use of switch is at the center of a star network or as a part of a hybrid network. The switch has cables plugged into it from each computer. In this diagram, you can see how cables are plugged into it from each computer. A switch is a more intelligent device than a hub. If a question comes to exam, what is the most intelligent device? From switch and hub, you have to choose switch because it is the most intelligent device among hub. If it receives a message, it checks who it is addressed to and only sends it to that specific computer. By using switch, we can send the message which is only relevant to the specific computer. Because of this, networks that use switches are more secure than those that use hubs, but also a little more expensive. By using switches, you can send data more securely than using hubs, but using switches are more expensive. A switch connects devices on a network. For a switch, it has ports and it is connected through cables. Switch makes sure that data is sent from any devices gets to the correct device on the network. That is why I previously talked with you. Using switch, we can send data only to the specific computer, and that is using a switch is more secure than using a hub. If I say example, when printing a document, a laptop will send data that includes the printer's IP address to the switch, and the switch then sends the data to the connected printer. I think now you all get an idea about what is a switch and what are the benefits of using a switch. The most relevant benefit is using a switch we can send data more securely. Now we will move to gateways. What is a gateway? A gateway connects two different types of networks. That means we can connect a LAN to a WAN. To connect it, we have to use a gateway. Therefore, we can tell a gateway connects two different types of networks. Router. A router is a network device that connects together two or more networks. Using a router, we can connect two or more networks together. As example, the common use of a router I can tell to join a home business to a wide area network. Routers are the devices that join together the various different networks that together make up the internet. Okay. A router is a device that analyzes the contents of data packets transmitted within a network or to another network. We send data packets. Routers determine whether the source and the destination are on the same network or whether data must be transferred from one network type to another. A router is connected to at least two networks. Previously I told you, or you can connect to more networks also. Commonly two LANs or WANs, or a LAN and its internet server provider's network. Routers are located at gateways, the places where two more networks connect. Routers determine the best path for forwarding the packets. Therefore, using a router, we can send data packets, and it is the best path to send data packets. Booster. A booster is used to amplify the signal in a network so that its range can be extended. By using a booster, we can extend the range of the signal. As an example, I can tell for homes and office, wired Ethernet connections often have a maximum range of 100 meters. Wireless signals have limited range too. Boosters can be used for both wired and wireless connections. If we use a booster for wired or wireless connections, we can amplify the signal in a network so its range be extended. Server. A server is a computer that shares its resources with connected devices. Using a server, we can share the resources with connected devices. Computers connected to a server are known as clients. If computers are connected to a server, we called it as clients. There are several types of servers described in your book. The first one is authentication server. What's the meaning of that? We will see. An authentication server checks usernames and passwords. Using an authentication server, we can check the username and passwords. When the user successfully logs in, The client receives an electronic certificate that it can then use to access various resources, including applications and shortage. If you use an authentication server, we can check using an authentication server. Can check users' name and passwords. Then print server. Print server manages multiple printers at a time. Using a print server, we can manage multiple printers at a time. Third one is file server. Using file server, users allowed to access shared and private storage. Then application server. Application servers provides clients with access to applications that can be run directly from the server. Last one is web server. What's the meaning of web server? Now we will see what's the meaning of that. Have you ever heard about web servers? I think you have heard about that. Web servers means web servers process requests for data made via Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Using a web server, it requests for data made via Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Together, all of the content stored on all web server is known as the World Wide Web. The content stored on all web servers is called as World Wide Web. Client computers often access web servers from outside the LAN to which the server is connected. In this part, we talked about several servers. Using a web server, it's stored in the server to client computers. Web server is a server software used to connect to the internet and to download stored web pages. You can download stored web pages through web server and also files onto the user computers. User computer means client computers when accessed or requested. In this slide, we talked about several servers. One is authentication server. Authentication server checks usernames and passwords. Using a print server, we can manage multiple printers at a time. Using a file server that allows users to access shared and private storage. Using application server, provide clients with access to applications that can be run directly from the server. And using a web server, we can do what? Using a web server, it processes requests for data made via Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and also using a web server, it is used to connect to the internet and to download stored web pages and files onto the client computers. Internet Server Provider. An internet server provider is a company that provides users with access to the internet. ISPs provides connections to the telecommunications infrastructure. What's the meaning of that? The networks of hardware facilities owned by private and public organizations that are used to transfer data. That forms the framework of the internet. ISPs provide access via mobile telephone networks and landline telephone networks. Commercial ISPs charge subscription fees for access to the internet. Some ISPs provide free access as a part of community schemes, which aim to provide internet access to groups of residents who either do not have or do not want access to commercial ISPs. If we tell briefly, by using ISP that provides users with access to the internet, It would be impractical and costly for individuals and most companies to connect to the internet infrastructure directly. Hence the importance of ISPs who give them access at an affordable monthly price. ISPs often provide additional services to their customers too. By using this, it provides additional services to customers too, such as email addresses, web hosting, and the supply or loan of equipment. Here I have given you some examples of ISPs. One or more two examples I will read for you. BT, PlusNet, Sky Broadband, BSNL. Here can you see the connection? There's a computer, router and the internet. So gateway they have used ISP, means Internet Server Provider. Web browser. A web browser is a type of software application used to request and display information stored on web servers. Using a web browser, you can request and display information stored on web servers. Here I have given you some examples regarding web browsers. Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Microsoft Internet Explorer, Opera, Apple Safari, and some more examples are included in your textbook also. Microsoft Edge, it's also an example for a web browser. Search engine. A search engine provides users with a way to find information in web pages stored on web servers. Using a search engine, we can find information. If you want to find some information, then the user must enter the keywords which you want to find. As an example, here I have given you most popular toys 2017. These are the keywords which I typed as I want to know the information. Filter software. Filter software prevents users from accessing inappropriate information. That means internet filters are software that prevents users of a computer from accessing certain websites. Using an internet filter software, you can't access some websites. That means they are predominantly used to block contents considered inappropriate for specific users. They think that these websites are inappropriate for specific users. Therefore, they have blocked the content. Filters are widely used on public library and school computers. In school computers also, sometimes they are predominantly block the content because it may be inappropriate for using the students. A LAN is a network contained to a small area, such as home or office network. Computers in a network can be connected using one of two different models. We can connect it as peer-to-peer, that means P2P or client-server. Now we will see what's peer-to-peer. A peer-to-peer network, that means P2P, is considered to be a type of network architecture composed of contributors that make their resources available to other contributors on the same network without the need for a server to oversee the transfer of information. As in briefly, if I told, computers in peer-to-peer network share their resources with other computers in the network, but they do not access servers. Do they access servers? No, without the need for a server. They can share their resources with other computers. Client-server networks. That means a network that uses servers and clients is called a client-server network. Benefits of using local area network. Access to shared peripheral. That means hardware devices. Access to shared storage and data. Flexible access. That means being able to access peripherals, storage and data from any connected device. Media streaming, that means media streaming means including movies, music and gaming. Communication, that means able to send messages and files to others on the network. The last point is shared access to the internet. These are the main benefits of using LAN.